Hi Austin, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to show you a couple of examples that will hopefully help you with the ratio and proportions day 2. Your questions on 5, 6, 12, and 16. Alright, here we go. This first example is going to be like number 12 and 16, 12 through 16 that you're having troubles with. I know those are triangles and this is a rectangle, but it's going to have the same idea behind it. Alright, it says the ratio BC to DC is 2 to 9. Find the value of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a proportion. First, in order for us to do that, we need to set up a few ratios. So I'm going to say BC is going to be over DC. And I know the ratio of BC to DC is 2 to 9. Okay? And now I'm going to come look at my picture here and I'm going to, okay, B to C. Okay, that's right here. B to C is X. So setting up my proportion, BC is on the top. So I'm going to put X on the top. And then I have DC, which is here. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. Now I'm just going to cross multiply. So I'm going to get 9x equals 60. Divide both sides by 9. And x is going to be 6.7. So this is the same concept that you're going to want to use for number 12 through 16. You're going to use the ratios they give you, and then you're just going to plug in the information left on your picture. Alright, moving on to example number 2. This is like number 5 that you were having troubles with. So it says the ratio of A to B and B to C is 3 to 2. The perimeter of a rectangle is 60 inches. Find the length and width. Now, for all of our purposes, whenever we're talking about a rectangle, this one down here is always going to be our length, and the vertical line is always going to be our width. Okay? And if we look at our picture, we know A to B is 3 and B to C is 2. Now, perimeter of a rectangle. To find perimeter of a rectangle, we would just add up all of our sides, but we're going to set this up like an equation. So we have 2 widths and we have 2 lengths. So we're going to say perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, that's the equation that we're going to be plugging everything into. Now, knowing that information, we're going to see everything that we know from the information given. We know our perimeter equals 60. We know our length and we know our width. Now our length is 2. And instead of just saying 2, we're going to say 2x because it is a fraction of 2. So it could be 2, it could be 4, it could be 6, it could be 8. So we're going to put 2x, and our width is 3. So it could be 3, it could be 6, it could be 9. Okay? So we have 2 and 3 there. This is the information we know. After we write down the information we know, we're going to plug it all in to this equation. So our perimeter is 60, so 60 equals 2 times my length, which is 2x, plus 2 times my width, which is 3x. Now we're going to go through and simplify this. Solve for x. So 60 equals 4x plus 6x. So 60 equals 10x. To solve for x, we're going to divide by 10. And 6 equals x. Now we found x, but what they ask us for is the length and the width. So what we have to do, we have to go back over to our length and width right here and plug in our x. So we have 2 times 6, which is going to give us 12 inches. And we have 3 times 6, which is going to give us 18 inches. This is how we're going to do this. This is how you're going to do number 2. This is also going to be on your quiz that I sent. So something to make sure you know how to do. If you have more questions, just shoot me an email, okay? Try to help you out again. Alright, and this one right here is just like number 6 on Ratio and Proportions Day 2 worksheet. So first thing we're going to read through this, the ratio of the length to width is 4 to 3. So remember, this is our length, this is our width. And the area is 48 square units. What is the length and width? Well, a rectangle, we need to write our equation. To find the area of a rectangle, area equals length times width. So we have to write down all the information we know. We know our area equals 48. We know the ratio of our length to width. Our length is 4x, again, because it could be 4, it could be 8, it could be 12. And our width is 3x. And I'm getting this 4 and this 3 from this ratio right here that they gave us, okay? So I'm just plugging that into information that I know. Once I have all the information, I'm going to plug it back into this equation. My area is 48, and that equals length, which is 4x, times 3x. So I'm going to multiply those together. I get 48 equals 4 times 3 is 12. Now this is what's important. X times x is x squared. Now I need to go through and solve this for x. So first thing I'm going to do is divide by 12. I'm going to get 4 equals x squared, but x isn't by itself yet. We need to take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and 2 equals x. Now that I have 2, I can go back over to my length and my width, because that's what they want me to find, and plug it in. So 4 times 2 is 8. So my length is 8. And 3 times 2 is 6. So my width is 6. So this is just going to be like number 6 on that worksheet. And this is also going to be on your quiz that I sent. So if you're having troubles with this, make sure you let me know, okay? Alright, I know you didn't ask for this, but this is like 7 through 10, I think, on the same worksheet. I'm just going to go through and make sure you know how to do it. The same idea of what we've been doing on the last 2 slides. And it will be on the quiz that I sent. The angles and the triangles are in the extended ratio 4 to 3 to 11. So, in our triangle, we have the measure of angle A, measure of angle B, and the measure of angle C. Now, we know our angles are 4, 3, and 11. Those are my ratios. So 4x, 3x, and 11x. If I look at that in my triangle, it would be something like this. Now, you know, I know you know that the inside of the triangle, the angles add up to 180. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set our angles up to 180. So 4x plus 3x plus 11x has to equal 180 degrees. So then I am going to get 18x equals 180. Divide both sides by 18. X equals 10. Well, I know what x is, so I can go back, plug it into my angles. So I'm going to have 4 times 10, which is 40. I'm going to have 3 times 10, which is 30. And I am going to have 11 times 10. Sorry, this is hard to read. I'm going to put it down here, which is 110. Now, degrees. When I look at all these, I know my triangle has to add up to 180, so I can just do a quick check. 40 plus 30 plus 110 is 180. So those angles are correct. So one angle is going to be 40, one's going to be 30, and one is going to be 110. Alright, that should help you out on that first worksheet. Now we're going to work on that proportions of geometry. You had questions on 10, 14, and 18. 10 is like the one I just did. I think that one was area 1, area and perimeter as both of them. So you're going to want to look back at the 2 slides that we just did a little bit ago. As far as 14 and 18, I have those ones up here. So this is 14, same one on your worksheet you had questions with. So we're just going to go ahead and do this one. They give us exactly what we need to fill in. So they want to know what A to B is. So if I look here, well, I don't know what A to B is, so I'm going to put X. So I'm going to have X over, and then I go B to C. Well, B to C is right here. 5 equals, they want me to do E to F, which is right here, so I have 4 over e to d, which is 6. Now I have my proportion set up. I'm going to cross multiply. So 6 times x is 6x. 5 times 4 is 20. To get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So x equals 3.3, repeating. Now, x in this problem represents a to b. But they don't want to find a to b. They want us to find a c. So all I have to do, a to c, is this whole thing right here. I'm just going to add them up. I'm going to say, okay, 3.3 plus 5 equals 8.3. And that is going to be my answer. So that's number 14. Here's number 18. It says, in November 2005, the exchange rate from Canadian dollars to US dollars is 1 to 0.85. So right away, I'm going to write down the exchange rate from Canadian dollars. I'm just going to put C, and I'm going to put US for US dollars. So the exchange rate is, for every 1 Canadian dollar, it is 0.85 US dollars. Now, the Canadian citizen paid $12.28 in US dollars, for a lunch while visiting in New York. What was the price of lunch in Canadian dollars? So if we go back and look at this one, we're going to plug in what we know. We know he spent $12.28 in US dollars, so that's going to go on the bottom. And we want to know how many dollars he spent in Canadian money. So we're going to cross multiply. We're going to get 0.85x equals 12.28. Divide both sides by 0.85. X is going to equal 14.45. So in Canadian dollars, he spent $14.45. Now, 18 is the one you have the question on, so we had to do that first one in order to do this one. It says the exchange rate, if the exchange rate were $1.28 Canadian dollars to 1 US dollar, what would the cost have been for the in Canadian dollars? So we have Canadian over US dollars, 1.28 over 1. And now what part I think is a little bit confusing is we're going to use this again. So he paid $12.28 in US dollars. We need to find the Canadian dollars. So we're just going to cross multiply, and X is going to equal 15.72 Canadian dollars. All right. That is all for that one. Now, I'm going to do, I know you didn't ask for this, but similar right triangles, I don't know if you've gotten that far. This one, there's not very much in the notes that I sent you that will help you. So I'm going to go over a couple of those notes. This is number 2 on the PowerPoint that I sent you for similar right triangles. With similar right triangles, we have 3 triangles in one. We have a small, a medium, and a large triangle. So when we're solving these problems, what I want you to do is take those triangles and redraw them. So I'm going to draw 3 triangles right away. I have a small triangle, and these are all right triangles, a medium triangle, and a large triangle. They don't have to be perfect by any means. Just make sure they're all right triangles. It helps that they're also pointing the same way. Okay? For my triangles, I always have the bottom be my small side, and the other side is going to be my tall leg, okay, my long leg. Now I'm just going to look at each of my triangles. Right now, here's my small triangle in red. I'm going to transfer everything I know about this triangle on to my picture that I just drew. So I know right here this 6 is my small leg, so I'm going to put that in there. And I also have X, which is across from my right angle, so that's my hypotenuse. So I'm going to plug that in there for me. Now I'm going to move on to the medium triangle. It's going to be right here, the one in green. And I'm going to put all the information that I know from this triangle on to my picture right here. So only thing I know, this is my small leg right here. I don't know anything there. This is my hypotenuse. I don't know anything for that. But I do know my long leg is 14, so I'm going to plug that in there. Now I'm going to go to my large triangle, which is the whole thing all together, okay? This right here is my large triangle. Put my right angle in there. And now what do I know about this one? Okay, I know my small leg is x, so I'm going to put that in there. And I know my hypotenuse. This right here is my hypotenuse. I need to add those together, and so I have 20 for my hypotenuse. So I'm going to put that right over here. Now, once I have this all drawn out and all my information on my triangles, I need to pick the two triangles that have at least two pieces of information in them so that I'm able to solve for x. So I'm going to use my small triangle because I have x and 6, and I'm going to use my large triangle because I know two things. And you notice that my two things that I know are in the same spots but on different triangles. From here, I'm going to set up my proportion. If I have x here, x is on the same place as 20 over here. So it's going to be x over 20 equals, now I'm going to come back to my small triangle, 6 over x. Once I get this far, all I'm going to do is cross multiply. So I'm going to get x squared equals 20 times 6, which is 120. And to get rid of this x squared, I'm just going to take the square root. And x is going to equal 10.95. And you can write it as a decimal, and that's just fine. That's how we're going to do one of those. I'm going to do one more for you, just so you have another example to look back on. So same thing, start here, draw your small, medium, and large triangle first. So my small triangle, medium triangle, large triangle. Make sure we put our right angles in there. And we're going to go through each of these and we're going to fill out the information that we know. So here's my small triangle. I know that my small leg is 8. And this right here is my long leg, so I'm going to call that x. And I don't know my hypotenuse, so I'll leave that blank. And I'll go to my medium triangle right here. I know this right here, that's my small leg, so I'll put x there. My long leg is 15. I don't know my hypotenuse, so I'll leave that one blank. Then I'll come and do my large triangle. I don't know my small leg or my large leg, but I do know my hypotenuse is going to be 23. And to get 23, I took 8 plus 15. Okay, so that's going to be 23 there. Now I have to go back and I have to be like, okay, which two have two pieces of information that are in the same spot? Well, in this one it's going to be my small and my medium triangle. So I'm going to use those to set up my proportion. So I'm going to start with x. X is in the same spot as 15 equals... Next one, I'm going to have x and 8 are on the same triangle. 8's in the same spot as x. So that's good. Now I'm just going to cross multiply. And I'm going to get x squared equals 120. To solve for this, I'm just going to take the square root of both sides. And x is going to equal 10.95. All right, so there's another example of that. One thing I want you to be aware of, you don't always have to have two x's. Sometimes you're only going to have one x in all three of your triangles, but the goal is just to solve for x by setting up a proportion. If you get stuck on these and you need more help, just shoot me an email, and I hope everything is going very well for you, and I hope this all helped you. If not, just let me know, and I will try to help you some more. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.